Okay, so we've now moved on to the fourth element booth here at DEMA, and I'm here with Jen Stanley, the brains behind the operation. Jim, what have you got for the DEMA visitors today?
Hi Simon. Well, this year we're launching, the main new product that we're launching is a new undersuit for dry suit diving, the Halo 3D. Our strapline for it is that it's biomat thermal protection for dry suit diving. And what we've attempted to do is to identify where on the body you need insulation the most, and to use new technology to provide that insulation in a more intelligent way. So we've taken some new materials and introduced them to some of the other concepts that we've already been using in our previous products.
Right.
Also, we've been thinking about the way that people dive, thinking about the fact that most people are aiming for a horizontal trim, which inevitably means that the air inside your dry suit migrates into the top half of your dry suit. Your back is not full of air, but you've got some air across your back. But your dry suit gets pushed onto your chest, and you lose a lot of heat through conduction into the water, from your chest into the water. So what we've actually taken is a material which, whilst completely permeable and porous, is actually incompressible. Well, relatively incompressible, and on the chest and on the thighs, where you get a lot of perfusion through the muscles and a lot of blood flow. We're actually protecting it with an 8mm thick constant layer of air. You can squash the material with a fingertip by applying a lot of pressure, but applying full hand pressure to it, akin to how a dry suit would be pushing onto your suit, you cannot actually compress the material. So you end up with an 8mm layer of air across these key areas of the body, keeping the core warm and keeping the core protected. We've used this material on the shoulders as well, and then on the back, on the buttocks and the backs of the legs, we've used additional layers of high density fleece, so that we're not using this material throughout the suit, because
It's not taking the same kind of load in terms of the convection.
Exactly, it's not needed in the same way, but and also there is the cost of using this material is the fact that it makes you more buoyant. So we've minimised the amount that we use, but to maximise its efficacy in keeping you warm and protected. Little extra additional areas just on the inside of the forearms. There's additional insulation there with high density fleece, because along here you also get a lot of blood diffusion closer to the surface, which is something that actually contributes to your hands feeling colder much faster. So if you can prevent heat loss into the water from this part of your body, your hands will stay warmer and more comfortable for longer, and you have a
More comfortable dive.
Yeah. Ultimately, the determining factor of whether your dive is good these days tends to be how much your hands hurt and how much your head hurts.
Right.
You can look after the rest of the body, and we're trying to contribute to that in terms of keeping your hands warm for longer. Ultimately, looking after the body core, the periphery takes care of itself to an extent, but we're just trying to help that process.
And full of usual extra additional thoughtful features here. I noticed we have the zip thing. It's just one of those things that you just don't see everywhere, and yet when you have one, you find out just how useful they are.
Absolutely. Well, we bowed to a bit of pressure on that, to be honest, from our architects, which we didn't put a pocket on the shoulder. We bowed to a little bit of pressure to provide something to put a bit of cash in, that sort of thing.
The old car keys.
Yeah, the other minor details that appeals more to the techies, things such as that there are P-valve holes pre-provided for those that need it and are using it as well. So that's the Halo 3D, and it's going to be available in shops probably early in the new year.
Thoughtfulness in operation as always.
So this is our dive travel bag. It actually comes in two parts. The main part is the Manta, and the other part is the Remora. But the principle we went for is take as much off that you don't actually is extraneous for travel. Right. What don't you need? Well, you don't need wheels, and wheels add weight. And in the context of traveling these days on an airplane, extra weight means extra cost to travel.
Yeah.
And most
trains.
Absolutely, and most airlines are not friendly towards divers, for example, as they are towards golfers. So we are actually forced to modify what we travel with in order to get within more and more draconian excess baggage rules. So what we've taken is a bag that is made of a very, very lightweight material. The main bag itself weighs 780 grams. 780 grams. But it's 110 litre capacity. So it's one of the largest bags on the dive market. But but it's also the lightest bag on the dive.
Weighs less than my socks.
I don't know, big socks. Anyway, you know what they say about men with big socks?
Go.
No. Okay. So, in essence, it's a rucksack style strap, and the bag unzips pretty much to allow you full access to the whole bag.
Dry zip.
Yep, the rubberized dry zip, very lightweight but very tough material. On the inside you can see the remora, which is what we've designed to take your personal items, your clothing, your wash bag, pair of flip-flops, pair of jeans, on top of your dive gear. So in effect you can arrive at a hotel, on a dive boat, on a liveaboard, put your bag down, lift that up with your clothing in it, take that down below decks, to put that in your cabin, leaving your dive gear in the bag, which you can then pack into a box, put the bag away until it's needed.
Because this will roll away into presumably nothing at all.
Absolutely, you can actually fold it down to about the size of an A4 envelope and about 1 inch deep, so it comes pretty smooth. So this has a waterproof pouch for any paperwork documents. It also has a mesh pockets inside, so you can compartmentalize your belongings as well. And if you are actually taking this any distance away from them, you have little clips that will hold the two halves together, so you've got a solid item that you're carrying over your shoulder as well,
Like a suit carrier.
Exactly. Yeah. So then at the end of the holiday, you put your kit away, your clothing on the back of there. The clothing in there provides a bit of cushioning for when you're carrying it. Zipping it up, and away you go.
You're ready to go. And this is very thin fabric, but it feels quite rugged, and the tapes and all that. But have you done any testing on this? The ruggedization?
We have. First of all, we went with a welded seam because it's going to be watertight.
Sure.
But equally, it's incredibly strong. It's actually stronger than stitching because the act of stitching it puts a needle through the material and weakens it. And we've done drag tests across smooth surfaces, carpeted surfaces, and concrete surfaces, and it's not a bag designed to be dragged on concrete. But if you're standing in the queue in the airport and dragging along a smooth floor whilst waiting to check in, it's going to survive that no problem at all. It's actually a lot tougher than it looks.
Yeah, and all the stitching is good solid stitching on there, probably backed.
Yeah, probably backed and reinforced. We've done drop tests, probably unrealistic drop tests in terms of the amount of weight and the distance that it fell, and it survives being dropped at reasonable distance, carrying a full load of dive gear, and it's not designed to be treated roughly, but at the same time, it's a dive bag. It's going to go wherever you go.
Again, a thoughtful approach to a practical problem. You need to move your kit around, but you don't necessarily need to add weight to the movement of the kit. Thanks, this is great. So that's 2 innovations already, and we've only two products. What else do you have?
We've got a new concept to try and develop for gloves as well, which we haven't seen it anywhere else. And if you bear with me, it's actually, if you imagine you're getting your dry suit, and it's quite often, especially in the UK, it's a cold and windy day.
Oh yeah.
If you put your dive gloves on, you actually don't have the ability to manipulate all your gear. So you put your dry suit on, you get all your gear together, and by the time you're ready to start diving, put your gloves on. Your hands are already cold and they're wet. So rather than do that, you get your dry suit on, and you go for this glove, which is a very thin neoprene, light neoprene foam, very lightweight.
Just about a mil.
Yeah. It has a thermal lining made from bamboo, which is also an antibacterial as well as a warm lining. Because once that's on, you've still got the dexterity for manipulating your camera gear, your clips, and all your other equipment from this glove, and yet you're going to have warm hands when it comes to getting in and starting your dive. Okay, but clearly this isn't quite up to snuff when you're diving somewhere in cold water, and just the hand. Diving in cold water, just before you've got all the rest of your gear on, just before you're ready to go, you take what is a 4mm mitt, throw that on over the top. Okay, so 3-finger mitt effect. Watertight seams again, so you're minimising the ingress of water. you're losing that dexterity that you had before, but at the same time, your hands are much warmer during the course of the dive.
And this is, I mean, still probably the same dexterity you get with a 7mm, or you're in cold water, you're going to need some love.
I mean, you have to accept that you're going to lose a certain amount of dexterity, but the benefit is that you can still feel your hands.
And you've got a layer effect as well, so that's a well accepted thing, that multiple small layers is better than one big one.
Absolutely. And then, obviously, after the dive, you take the big glove off, and you've still got something that's keeping your hands warm after the dive, rather than now being exposed to the elements as well. So it's something that's new. Nobody's ever done it before. This is the first time anybody's ever seen it, and we're waiting to see how people react to it and how they respond. But we've tested it, and certainly it does what we think it will do. I think the only downside is you have to keep control of the two pairs of gloves. Let's face it, not every diver's as in control of their gear as everyone else.
At least you have a bag to put these in one way. It's good. Yeah. Good thinking as always. Thanks very much indeed.
You're welcome.
Right, I'm on the customer service stand. So, Alex, what have we got new?
We've got 3 or 4 items here that we have. This is latest edition. This little gadget here is the new rebreather lift bar that fits aspirations and evolutions. And we've incorporated it's a low volume system, so it will fit. The rebreather will fit in the box with the bar on, rather than having to take it off. It's got 2 nice little lashing bars for everybody to rope through, so you can tie it to a rocky boat and it won't move. So that's one little item there that we have. Recently added this to the system as well. This is for a Mark 6 rebreather. It's for a left handle for that particular unit. That's all in stainless steel as well. We have this is one of the latest additions as well. This actually is a independent twin tank adapter, and it's great for independent twin mounting, great for travelling with because it's aluminium, very light. This will also split. It's a modular coupling, so you can actually use one half of it if you like for single tank mounting, or you can actually mount Coney, use it as a Coney bracket as well if you want to. Wonderful use as well. Yeah. What we have also is tank furniture. This little thing here is
Next generation
furniture again. It's a set stage cylinder mounting kit. This particular one has small clips on.
LED, if you look at it on the surface, it's bright as hell.
If you want to use a bigger clip for having big hands or big gloves, cold hands, ideal is to use a bigger clip. Also has a band with it and protection for your band as well. So that comes complete. We also have contents marker as well, and this is ideal for analysing your cylinders, marking it with a permanent pen. This will wrap pen around the neck of your cylinder, so you always know exactly what is in your tank itself. After using this, you can quite easily wipe it with white spirit and use it for time and time again.
Very neat idea, that.
These little things here are cylinder stage hose retaining bands, tough rubber, and comes with a little tag, so if you want to lift up and replace your hose on the tank, it's easy to get to, and they're anti-snag, so they'll lay straight back down. So
That's a great idea, though, because trying to get all the bands with your gloves on and stuff, you're trying to do that's a nightmare. That just, away you go.
It's just simple, it's out of the way. That's our latest additions.
That's great. Sorted. Thank you very much. Cheers.